Good morning, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. Now, a lot of shit has happened in 2016, but a lot of good music has been released as well. So I thought that this video, I would talk about what my top 5 albums are of 2016. Bear in mind that this list only includes albums that were released in 2016 that I actually own the vinyl of. To an extent, they are in order, with number 1 being my all-time favourite of this year, but the margin between them is almost infinitesimal. Like, I love all of these albums so much. My way of creating this list and judging which ones I wanted in there was entirely subjective. It had nothing to do with reading which ones were the most critically acclaimed or the best produced or anything like that. It's purely based on which ones I have enjoyed and listened to the most over the course of this year. Anyway, let's get into it. Number 5 on my list would be Daughter Not to Disappear. This was released on January the 15th of this year. It's the second album from this band. It follows quite neatly in the footsteps of their previous release, quite mellow and melancholy indie folk music. But yeah, this is a really cool record. I listened to it a lot, especially when it first came out. It was during winter and I really liked indulging in the sort of melancholy and depressive nature that you get from the music like this in that season. My only criticisms with this is that I felt like it was a bit too similar to their previous album, but after listening to it a few more times, I've actually started to appreciate a lot more of the subtle nuances and the differences between this and their last record, and it's really good. I really recommend that anyone who hasn't heard this, go and listen to it. Favourite songs on this are How, No Care and Fossa. Number 4 on my list is the album Everything and Nothing by the Nashville-based ambient post-rock and shoegazer duo Hammock. This came out on the 1st of April this year, and it was the first release that Hammock had made for several years. They'd kind of disappeared off the face of the planet for a bit, but they came back with this, and it is one of my favourite albums by them, and I have been following them for years now. It's an absolutely gorgeous album, and if you're into ambient post-rock and shoegazing music or anything like that, then you have to check out Hammock, because it is just so nice to put a record like this on and let yourself be taken away to somewhere else for a short period of time. I know that's a fucking cliche, but ambient post-rock can have that effect, especially when it's as good as Hammock. It's also one of those albums that you don't just want to pick one song to listen to. You need to listen to it as a whole body of work to really appreciate it. The whole thing ebbs and flows really nicely, but if I had to choose a few favourites from this, I would recommend listening to Clarity, Dissonance, We Were So Young, and You Walk Around Shining Like the Sun. Awesome album, really ethereal, really beautiful, really well produced. Check it out. Album number 3 on my list would be I Like It When You Sleep, For You Are So Beautiful Yet So Unaware of It by the 1975. I really dislike having to say that album title. I'm sure lots of you will have heard of the 1975 and will have heard this album. Whether or not you love them or you hate them, I personally think that they're great, and I really like this as well as all of their previous work. I'm actually seeing them live in Cardiff on the 22nd of December, which by the time you see this will be yesterday. I'm sure I had a great time. I might even have made a vlog about it, which will be up next week. Anyway, I really like this album. It came out on February the 26th of this year. I listen to it all the time. Now, my favourite tracks on here fluctuate constantly. I can never really quite decide on one or two, but Somebody Else is one of the songs that will always kind of be up there as one of my favourites from them ever. I also really like Paris, A Change of Heart, If I Believe You. I mean, all of the songs on here are great. It really just depends on what mood I'm in as to which one I want to listen to. So yeah, 1975. I Like It When You Sleep, For You Are So Beautiful Yet So fucking Unaware of It. Great album. Check it out. Album number 2 on this list is, unsurprisingly, Keaton Hanson, Kindly Now. As I'm sure a few of you know, I have been a huge fan of Keaton Hanson for a very long time now. This came out on the 16th of September, and I was so happy when he announced he was releasing a new piece of work. Everything he does is art to one degree or another, and I just absolutely love this record. I did a full track-by-track review of it as well, which I'll link over there and you can watch that if you want. It's just amazing, and I don't really feel like I can say all that much about it. I said what I needed to say about it in the review. If you don't listen to Keaton Hanson, then I just really recommend that you do. You may not like him, he's not for everyone. We all have our different tastes and opinions and things that we like to feel when we listen to music, but certainly some of the most profound emotional experiences that I've had in my life have been at least partially emphasized by listening to Keaton Hanson's music, so I highly recommend that you check this out. My favorite tracks on this now, because they have changed a little bit since I did my review, would be All Right, Good Lust, Old Lovers and Dressing Rooms, which I still maintain is one of the best songs on the whole album, and How Could I Have Known, which is just unspeakably beautiful and heartbreaking. So yeah, listen to this guy, it'll do you good. And finally, my number 1 album of 2016, and this is semi-tied with Keaton Hanson, is Benjamin Francis Leftwich, After the Rain. I listen to this record all the time. It came out on the 19th of August, and this was just my summer, basically, in one disc. This is my summer. A while ago, I made a really shitty vlog about a really good holiday that I had in Milan this summer. I basically just went rogue and booked myself a holiday in Milan for 4 days by myself. It was absolutely amazing, but this was what I was listening to every day when I was walking around the streets that I didn't know, getting on random trains and going to towns that I'd never been to before in Italy in the heart of summer. I just love this album so much, but musically, it's fantastic. Benjamin Francis Leftwich is someone who I used to listen to when I was like 17, 18 in school. His song Box of Stones, which is still one of my favourite tracks he's ever released, was like my autumn and winter anthem in like 2011 or something, I don't know, years ago. But this was the album he released after we hadn't sort of heard anything from him for years. He released a statement on Facebook about how his father had passed away and that he had been coping with that, and it had been a really, really horrible time for him. And this is the new album from him after going through all of that loss and all of that hardship. And it is unspeakably beautiful, lyrically and musically, and he just has such a recognisable, really soft, beautiful voice. I saw him live in Cardiff a few months ago, had a chat with him after the show. He's just the nicest guy you'll ever meet as well. I mean, I know that I wouldn't have really got to know him properly as a person in like a 5-minute conversation, but he just seemed really cool and it was a pleasure to talk to him. And I find that his music can fit into so many different emotional areas of life. What I love so much about music is that it gives us the ability to project our own emotions and our own experiences onto the words and the creations of someone else. And I really feel that with practically every single song on this album. And like I said, I've been listening to him for years. So much of his music is present in the sort of soundtrack to my life, whether that's in old memories of hugely potent teenage first love or in recent holidays that I went on. His music's always been there, and this is a fucking awesome album. Favourite tracks on this are Tillicum, Kicking Roses, Cocaine Doll, and Groves. Groves is just an absolutely amazing song. So yeah, I would wholeheartedly recommend that you check out Benjamin Francis Leftwich. There you have it, those are my top 5 records of 2016. What do you like to listen to? Let me know what yours are down below if you have any. Or maybe you disagree with some of my choices. If that's the case, I'd love to know why. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day and a really good Christmas as well, because I won't see you till after Christmas now, so fucking Merry Christmas. I hope it's amazing. Thank you again. I will see you all very soon.